Yes, so the 1260, the 1290, and 1335 are actually describing a process that God brings His people through to bring them to maturity. When you come out of your Egypt, you go into the wilderness. Well, the wilderness is described as the 1260 days, Revelation 12, many places, right? So you go through the wilderness. Then in the wilderness, there's choices that made that are going to bring to maturity. And the maturing, the 1290, is connected to that maturing. It's given in the negative, the abomination of desolation, but there's still a maturing that takes place. And then after that, those people who choose evil, abomination of desolation, they persecute God's people. So there's a trial you have to go through there, and the blessing is when you come to 1335 days, you enter God's rest. So the 1260, the 1290, and 1335 are describing a three-step process. And it doesn't matter, it's not based on the number of days. It doesn't matter if your time in the wilderness is like Jesus, you're there for 40 days. It's still represented by the 1260 days. That's your wilderness time. And it doesn't matter the days of the abomination of desolation. You're not counting days. It's an event. It's an experience, a process. Now, many times in the Bible, that process happens. Jesus actually describes this process in Matthew 24, and He never mentions the time. He just mentions nations against nations and kingdoms against kingdoms. And then He says, then they're going to kill you. So He talks about the wilderness, 1260. Then He says, then they're going to kill you. That's the abomination of desolation. But He says, blessed are those who endure, who maintain love or function in principle, right? So he used the idea of the three-step process without even mentioning the time, because it's a process. And I think that sometimes the time can be a distraction to people, or it can be something that throws people off in terms of, you're trying to reset time. See, the time isn't the issue here. It's the process of God shining light and then choices being made. So that's why the idea of purified, made white, and tried is very important in Daniel 12, because it's actually describing the process that we find in 1260, 1290, 13.